A sheltered high school girl is bullied by everybody she knows and finds that she has the ability to strike back. We watch Carrie. Now let's head over to the prom.
You're going to Camp Fun, ain't you?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
We're going to come back again.
All out of bubble.
Start again.
Replacement call is coming from inside the house.
Welcome to Slashers and Screamers. We are a proud production of Slasher Sports, and we're glad to have you with us today while we discuss one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm Final Girl Casey. Now let me welcome the rest of my co-hosts. We have our Bigfoot expert and our personal harshest critic, the Godfather of Droll, James. James, how did you feel about this movie in a few words?
I like this movie, Saturday Night Fever. Had
That's
my
good.
boy John Travolta in it,
We did watch a
And
John
he went-
Travolta movie this week.
and he went to a dance.
There was a dance. So far, so good. 2 for 2. The Memphis Menace and an encyclopedic knowledge of classic horror, Rick. Rick, how'd you feel?
I was really surprised. Like I told you guys earlier, I haven't watched in literally over 10 years, and man, it was awesome. It was really good.
Good to come back to. And
Yes.
finally, with no nickname needed, the verified #1 fan of slasher movies, Billy Graves. Jesus Christ.
Hello, I am Jesus Christ. I'm glad to be here. Listen.
Butchered the shit out of it.
Well, that's what we're here to do. But hey, listen, 3 times they've tried to recreate this movie. 3 times they have failed. I mean, what more could you possibly need? You got sissy SpaceX titties. You got a dude with an immaculate head of hair. You got Krista Allen. Krista or Kristen? Krista. One of those Allen
Let me
chicks.
look.
Or is it
Uh-huh.
Nancy? No, it's Nancy Allen.
Nancy Allen. Her
Man,
name was
Nancy
Chris in the
Allen.
movie.
All he needs Billy Grimes.
Superstar Billy Graham. Good God. Okay, well, you know
Superstar
what?
Billy Grimes.
Well, this is a fucking great movie, y'all. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's outstanding pick. Outstanding pick. And I don't like to give credit to anybody for any reason. Really good pick.
Well, I'll take credit where
There's
credit's
one
due.
reason
It's a great
Stephen
movie.
King said this is his worst book ever.
I don't
Did
think
he say
said
that? I think you're mixing up this
Yes,
and
he did.
Tarantino. Even your dog's correcting you.
No. I seen where Stephen King threw this book in the trash, and his wife picked it up and helped him write it.
I don't think it was because it was his worst book. I think it was because it was his
This is a
first
true.
book.
This is a true statement. It's his first book.
There we go.
There needed to be more Bigfoot.
There wasn't enough Bigfoot. James, do we have
But
Bigfoot
Bill,
updates this week?
Stephen King wrote this book. He hated it so bad he threw it in the trash. His wife got it back out and helped him write it. It was
Whose
a
idea?
factoid I learned today.
Well, whose idea was it to put Sissy Spacek naked in the first 5 minutes? I want to give that person my sincerest thanks.
There were a lot of people naked in the first 5 minutes. Sissy
Yeah.
Spacek
Yeah.
was of them.
Nancy Allen was the other.
The same guy
One of
that
the others.
directed Scarf, Bill.
I don't know, James. I do not know. But we're
But-
talking about it this week, and it's
Benicio
fantastic.
del Toro.
Definitely not Benicio del Toro. Nor Guillermo del Toro.
This movie was bound and determined for me to see Sissy Spacek's titties, though.
It was. And, again, Nancy Allen, who I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. Let me just go ahead and get this
Is
out.
the
We don't,
hammer.
we don't have to talk about this later. Nancy Allen is a ball peen hammer in this flick. I'm talking about every moment from the locker room at the opening to sitting in John Travolta's ride, giving him helmet, slapping the shit out of him at every turn.
Yeah, there's
Nancy
a lot
Allen.
of slapping in this movie. I was like, damn, y'all.
That's the
Whole
kind
lot
of
of
relationship
slapping in
I
this
want.
movie.
Just like open slapping each other and
Right.
meaning it in the most sincere way.
Yeah.
I think you're going to find a hard time with that.
I will. And I've come
Guess
to
that's
grips
a
with it.
disciplined kid in high school in the 70s, so.
And what about the
I didn't
hair?
go to high school in the 70s. We could ask Billy about high school in the 30s.
Okay, well, when I have my next kid and she's going to school in 2030, I'll let you know. Because I didn't fucking go to school in the 30s.
Back then, we wore leather football helmets.
And that's why James is the way he is.
So,
But the hair in this flick, let me say, I want, well, the guy, the prom date, I want Tommy's hair. He looks Herculean, if I may say so. He might not be built like anything, but he's got the hair of the gods.
his Wikipedia page is from 2014, and he's still got a fair amount of hair.
Man, I love it. I love everything about this movie. I love the slow burn. I love the ridiculous ending. Fantastic.
How about the fast burn? The gym going absolutely up in flames.
You know, that's, skipping ahead a little bit, but this might be this might be the most anticlimactic ending that there ever was. This was all climax, okay? Oh, you did something that I didn't like, and all this time I've been teasing you guys with shaking ashtrays and moving stuff across the room. Well, how about this fire hose to the face? And how about me burning everything from here to Kingdom Come Down? Well, you've got it in this ending. This ending probably rivals, and it's a little cleaner than the ending of Beware Children at Play, that I still really wish we'd been able to see, but understandably not. But this ending, now that I think about it, the ending of this one may be a little shorter than the ending from the 13-14 remake?
I think 14.
Yeah, 2014 with Chloe Moretz. That is the second best of the iterations of this film, by the way. But I prefer, even with the lower production value, 2013. Okay,
Yep.
Well, I prefer the original version, even with the lower production value, over the 2013 version. Love it.
Is it just me, or did Saturday Night Fever get a little darker?
Saturday Night Fever got so much darker, and I was here for it. Saturday Night Fever's a little bit dark, though. I don't know. It's not all about dancing. I mean, it's about drug use. It's about a guy getting cheated on with his gal, probably by a priest. It's got some really dark themes to it. And then it's got John Travolta dancing his fucking ass off. And I really do feel ripped off, though, that we didn't get any dancing from John Travolta in this film.
None.
Not one step. And he looked like he was in his prime. Straight off of, was it Welcome Back, Kotter?
Yep.
Straight off the set.
I was going to say, I read somewhere that he literally auditioned for this movie, like walked from Welcome Back, Kotter's set over to this one.
I think I may have seen that as well.
And I
think I got my audio straightened out.
That's good. Glad to hear.
Amazing.
So I think with this movie, and I know usually we're a little hesitant to get right into things, and for this one we'll circle back after the game. But with this movie, we're giving away, 40-year-old spoilers, almost 50-year-old spoilers. So,
oh yeah, at some point you have to be relieved of those duties to keep the spoiler alert. I mean, let's just go ahead and say it. Spoiler alert, everything in this podcast is going to be a spoiler if you listen to it long enough.
Yeah,
True.
It's more than 50 years old, so.
But also with this movie, we're seeing something like, I know you compared this to Beware Children at Play, which I did watch the ending of that movie, and it was something to be beheld. But this movie has such, stylistic, iconic references to go back to. I think if you showed the picture of her covered in blood to damn near anybody, they could tell you what it's from.
Even if they've never seen it.
Even if they're not a horror fan at all.
Behold.
Pretty much.
Well,
now, I think before we get... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, God, what?
I'm disgusted with you.
What the hell did I do? I just got here.
And the nonchalant, grabbing ass way you're taking this Bigfoot situation.
It's time. Settle in for the Bigfoot segment. James, please update.
Apparently it is.
Sasquatch is real, Bill, and you need to take notice.
I'm noticing something, all right.
That's all I got to say. I'm so disgusted.
Well, don't be disgusted with me, okay? I'm not the only one who, I guess, is hesitant to believe your cries for help, James. I think that's what they are, cries for help. I'm here to help
It's not
you.
the ramblings of a madman, Bill.
Look,
Which
James,
one of y'all?
Behold
I
the
want you-
T-shirt I got him.
yeah, I want y'all to see this. I know the listening audience can't see it, but this t-shirt that I'm wearing was a month-old birthday gift from James. It is a Crystal Lake Running Team t-shirt. Tagline, run for your life.
Makes
It took
sense.
2 months, 4 lunches, and a ride to Hendersonville. Get that T-shirt.
The home of Jeff. JARRETT. Jeff Jarrett. You don't know anything about that, Casey. Don't worry about it. Don't even ask.
I sure don't. Nah, I'm not gonna. I don't know. What I will say is, before we get too far into this movie, since we've already spoiled the whole damn thing, we have a game to play.
Oh, we do. And you guys know how we determine the movies, the films, or as James's grandfather would say, the pictures that we are going to be reviewing. Well, we do that via the game, the Milton Bradley game, Crack the Case. Milton Bradley games are part of American culture, and so are horror. And I believe this is a great seg into what we're doing here, right? So, Crack the Case. I'm going to read, the case. The three of these yahoos get to solve the mystery by asking me, the moderator, yes or no questions. Now, there are going to be some I don't knows and some yes and no's. Like, say, was the guy where he shouldn't have been? Yes and no. Well, maybe he was where he was scheduled to be, but he was also not supposed to be exactly where he was. You know what I mean? That's the kind of answers you're going to get. You're going to get irrelevant. Define what you mean by your question, and then rephrasings of your questions. So, let's get this thing started, all right? The name of this case is The Lead Anniversary. That's L-E-A-D, like, pencil lead. It's not even lead, it's graphite. Fucking liars.
Like hot lead, Bill.
Like hot lead, man. The Lead Anniversary. The case is as follows. Eileen was happy. Today was her wedding anniversary. To celebrate, she and her husband Bobby went for a long ride in the country, followed by a picnic on a secluded riverbank. Sometime during the meal, Eileen returned to the car, retrieved Bobby's revolver from the glove compartment, and fired 4 slugs into her startled husband. The mystery: what made Eileen kill her husband? We may as well go ahead and start the questions with Rick.
Of course, I gotta go first.
Listen, you little dirt dauber, I had to pick somebody.
You could have picked me, Bill.
Yeah.
You said,
yeah.
you said they were on vacation, right?
Yes, I did. James, your question.
He takes so much delight in that.
A secluded area, eh? Did she see Bigfoot?
No. Casey, your question.
Question for James. Why would seeing Bigfoot cause you to fire 4 rounds into your husband?
Well, maybe Bigfoot was standing behind him.
She missed so fucking hard.
And she's not a
Or
very
that
good
was the
shot.
best way to do it. Well, maybe that's the best way to do it. Like, maybe Bigfoot had him in a full Nelson. And and the only way she was going to get him was with that gun.
Maybe she's not a very good shot either.
Apparently not.
Well, you're
Okay.
assuming that a woman can't fire a gun, James. I'm not doing that.
I'm going to say it right now, Bill.
If you must.
Women can shoot guns.
We all
You're
have heard. Take note.
You're good. You're a good man, James. You're a good man.
All right.
Casey?
Is it my turn?
It is. I'm not going to count your question to James as your question.
Well, yeah, because it wasn't a question to you. So, you said they took a ride into the countryside. Was this in a car?
Yes. Rick,
Okay.
your question. And I'm going to allow solving after the 3rd round, by the way, which is also when I will give the first clue.
Did his wife see something that, scared her to make him shoot her?
To make him shoot her?
I mean, to make her shoot him, sorry.
Bang, bang.
No, she did not see something.
Okay.
Jables,
What to do here, Bill?
ask a question. Casey, your question. Just remember, guys,
I think it was a real
anything...
question. That wasn't really a question.
What to do, Bill? Ask a question. Anything that ends with a question is a
Secluded.
with a question mark is a
Secluded
question.
area.
Casey, your question. Oh, it's Casey's question, James. You asked me a question already. It's not my fault you didn't pay attention to what kind of questions you're asking.
I'm still thinking.
Well, you think about round 3. Casey, your question.
Okay. Besides the clear-cut murder that we're seeing here, was there a crime involved to motivate this?
No, a crime did not motivate.
Okay.
Rick?
Were they the only two on their trip?
Yes.
What?
Rick asked if
What was
they
that?
were the only two people on the trip. James, your question.
Was the man looking at something?
Define what you mean by was the man looking at something.
Was the man looking at something that made his wife upset?
Oh, so you're going with the infidelity thing, or not the infidelity thing, but the wandering eyes thing. Like he saw that cake over there across the field and said, I want some of that cake. And I don't mean sweet stuff. I'm talking about that booty.
Yeah.
Is that what your question is, James?
Yeah.
No. Casey, your question.
Okay. Was there infidelity involved in this case?
Yes.
Okay.
Rick, it will be your
Do we
question as soon as I give clue number 1. Eileen smelled a rat. Rick, your question.
Was Eileen... You said Eileen is her name? That's not my question.
Eileen. Please don't take my man.
Eileen. First of all, I want to give a hats off to our goddess, our Tennessee royalty, Dolly Parton. We love you. Everybody say hello to Dolly Parton.
She's a
Hello.
saint.
She is royalty. Okay. Whose question? Oh, it's Rick's question.
Okay, okay. Was she jealous of something?
Yes. Would you like to solve?
No.
Jimbo?
Was her husband cheating on her?
Yes.
Did she shoot him because he was cheating on her?
That is a fact, James. What made Eileen kill her husband? She found that he was cheating on her. But you must discover what made her realize that he was cheating. Because they're out in the field, James, okay? There's no Bigfoot coming and whispering in her ear. The sweet nothing.
Well, old dummy
Hey there,
probably
lady.
told her to go get something out of the car and use the other woman's name. So she come back with old hot lead on him.
No.
Her name's Eileen. He said, "Go get me that tea, Barbara." And Eileen said, "Who the hell's Barbara?"
Oh, man. That is...
And the next movie will be...
Well, hang on, James. Hang on there, buddy. Slow down. He did not
Tune in
call her
next
by...
week
He didn't call her
when
by
we
another
review
name.
Weekend
You
at Bernie's.
don't have to call me darling. Darling.
I hate y'all.
Kiss an angel good morning.
All right, so
Love
R.I.P.
like a
Charlie
girl
Pride.
when you get back home.
So, would you like to solve it, James?
SD.
No, you didn't.
So how did she know that he was cheating on her?
That is our goal to determine.
That is what we are trying to determine.
And it wasn't because he said the wrong name.
It wasn't because he said the wrong name. He didn't say, "Hey, Barb, go get me that jogging in a jug out of the car."
Go get me that Mona V, Lisa.
You got a solution, James?
Well, maybe she seen the picture of the other woman.
Casey, your question.
Was the way that she found out he was cheating something to do with the gift that he got her?
He didn't get her no gift.
It's their anniversary, James. I'm assuming.
Oh,
Well, maybe that's why we're in the shape we're in, James. Never know
oh
when
she
the
got
appropriate
was a
time
little
for...
hot lead.
The gift.
No gift is relevant to this case.
Thanks.
Would you like to try to solve, though?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I've
Clue.
got the answer.
Clue number 2, Rick, before you ask your question, is the blanket couldn't quite cover up Bobby's activities. Your question, Rick.
Dun 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 dun. I've got the answer.
Did like the other girl like hide in the trunk or in the back seat or something? And like, she popped out, and then like his
I'm here, bitch!
And then like he shot her or she shot him. I mean,
Me, boy. I found y'all, and now I'm going to
and he used the blanket to cover her body up and killed her.
Rick is writing
well,
a screenplay with his.
Oh,
with
yeah.
his
So
solve.
you
I'm
think...
gonna kill you, Bobby. You sleep with left over.
So you think Bobby had the cadaver of his lover in the trunk and covered it with the blanket. And they went to a
They
picnic,
just
and he's like, well, hey,
lay
let me
the
just use this
over that
blanket.
body.
Well, hey, let me just uncover this dead body.
Yeah, and then
That
it's then the
sounds
girl-
like a real good anniversary.
James, or Rick, would you like to solve?
Baby,
No,
I killed her for you. Now let's go to this secluded area.
James, what's your answer? Since you know it, come on, buddy.
All right, so they were in a secluded area, right?
Hit him,
With
Godfather.
nobody else around. Well, he either carved something in the ground or on a rock or on a tree stump or something, and he tried to cover it up with a blanket, and she seen it.
Would you like to try to solve, James?
I just did.
So you want your question to also be your attempt to solve? Is that what you're saying? Well, both are wrong. Casey, your question.
No, I believe that's right, Bill.
Yeah, you're right. I just decided to not let you win, even knowing goddamn well you're going to give me a werewolf
You
movie for
really-
next week.
You really need to listen to what I just said there, besides saying, is that your question? Because I really don't know what else it could be.
Well, you're going to have to come up with something else because that ain't it. Casey?
Sorry, I'm recovering. Did he have a
So is
hickey?
James. No. So,
No.
okay. Remember, our clues were Eileen smelled a rat and the blanket couldn't quite cover up Bobby's activity.
I
And let-
do want to solve. I was wrong.
Whoa, I see. I just read the clues because we were going to the next round. I wanted to refresh you guys with the clues.
I've been refreshed.
Well, yeah, but it is now past your turn.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you call cheating.
Fine, I'll wait.
Ricardo de Memphis.
So did the guy hire a
Lord.
did he hire like a
Did he hire Batman?
did
It's Batman.
did the dude hire the person to kill his wife, and then she saw the hit person?
Batman.
The hit person? This is like a politically correct, because we can't just assume the hitman's not a woman, right? So she,
You're saying a blanket, and to
The
smell
hit person.
you smell something you think something's wrong, and a blanket you cover a damn dead body.
okay, calm down, Rick. You ain't got to get hot about it.
I smell a rat.
There was no hit
And my
person.
blanket,
Was
my
she in the
blanket won't cover my feet.
There was no hit person, Rick. Would you like to try to solve? But that sounded a lot like a solve anyway.
Was she in the mob?
No.
I don't know, dude. This
Was
is
it-
big.
Jimbo, give it to me.
Was it something on the ground that tipped her off?
Define what you mean by something on the ground.
Was there an object on the ground that tipped her off?
Define what you mean by object. I'm trying to push you guys in the right direction here now because Sissy Spacek is aging by the time this is under wraps.
Still hot though.
Oh God, hammer.
Was there a article of clothing
Thank
on the
you.
ground?
Thank you. No. Casey, you can just hear the disdain in James's voice. Ugh.
Did she smell another woman's perfume on him?
You're goddamn right she did, Casey. And investigators must discover that Eileen killed her husband because she smelled her sister's distinctive perfume on the picnic blanket and knew that he had a romantic interlude on it with her sister. So, he was trying to...
Oh my God.
He was...
That none of them clues would lead me to believe that it was her sister.
Well, I
Well, it
never
didn't-
would have known that. No.
Yeah,
She
the
didn't even
sister...
have a sister. I didn't even know she had a sister.
Well, you know what would have done that? Asking.
We now have to start every round with what is their family tree?
Well, but that wasn't the part of it. The part was smelling the perfume. It doesn't have to be the sister. Just smelling the perfume of another woman solves this crime. And that's why she shot him. But yes, the clues would have told you everything. Eileen smelled a rat. She
A blanket
smelled something.
don't cover up perfume, especially if the perfume's on the blanket.
Cover up can also mean hide.
Okay, it's not doing either one of those.
The blanket couldn't cover up Bobby's activities.
Okay, it's not
So-
covering up nothing.
Right, so the blanket,
If I
exactly.
cover you up with a blanket, I can't
That's-
see you. I can still smell you.
That's the operative part of the word couldn't. The not part, James.
Oh, God. Whatever, Bill.
Am I wrong?
I won this round.
If I said that the blanket could not cover up Bobby's activities,
I won half
I'm
of
not
this
saying that it
round, Bill.
did cover up his activities. You flat-footed son of a bitch.
Damn, this is going off the rails.
I won this damn round, Bill.
Well, Casey's got something to say about that. Casey, 2 weeks in a row now, you've won this fucking thing. I want to say I'm proud of you,
But you're not.
but I'm not gonna.
You'll just hold it in your heart forever.
Forever. Well, now that you've won, you get to pick 2 weeks in a row. Like, do you already know what it's going to be? You're going to sit on this? What's going on?
I'm going to sit on this actually because last week I knew exactly what I wanted to watch, but this week I think I'm going to have to think about it until the end of the podcast. That sounded menacing.
I was like, yeah, that was not good. Okay, well, that's the end of the game. I guess we can jump into the movie that we came to review.
Yeah, let's go. All right.
And it's a movie. First of all, let me say this. According to my good friend and listener, Jay Bustos, Carrie is the classic coming-of-age flick.
Is that my name?
That's true.
No, you're not Jay Bustos.
Jay Bustos.
Jay is one of our good friends of the show and personal friend from Killicali. He and wife Amelia listen to the show quite often and give the best feedback.
Emilio!
No, not Emilio. Amelia and Jay.
Well, we appreciate that comment on the movie.
Yeah.
It is a
Couple of
good
the year.
coming-of-age movie, a great one.
Very much so, and that coming of age happens right in the opening scene.
Oh, immediately. So we get right into the movie. I'd like you to take note,
I'll
listeners.
just tell you, that made me sick.
Hold on, just a second. So we actually open on a volleyball sequence, and I'd like you to take note of Norma. Norma is wearing a red hat, and you will never see her without that red hat. I just
First
like
of
that
all-
as a tracking point in the movie.
Yeah, so first of all, we would murder that volleyball team because they fucking suck.
Oh,
like
I'd
both
be
teams.
the carry of that volleyball team.
But you know what? You've got so much support from me, James, and 5'5" Rick that it wouldn't matter. It would not matter. These guys were terrible.
So
it
then-
reminds me of the time, James, you might remember this. Remember when we were in 5th grade and we got that new phys ed teacher, Coach Harris, and he always let us play dodgeball, but he would like have the boys against the girls, and he would be like, and keep in mind, this is a one-horse town, like 1,500 people that lived in it at the time. He'd say, boys got to throw with their left hands. Well, guess who's left-handed and didn't say anything about it? Oh, moi.
I am too.
You're not left-handed.
Yeah, I am.
You're lying through your teeth right now, Rick.
I'm weird, okay? I write with my right hand, but I shoot a basketball with my left. I throw a baseball with my left. I bat left-handed.
Here we go.
So,
James, are you right-handed?
No,
Am
I can't.
Yeah,
Nope.
I am actually ambidextrous.
I'd give my
That's
right
right.
arm to be ambidextrous.
Really?
What?
I can do anything with either hand.
That is a lie, James. You can't even write with your good hand, and you're sitting there talking about, I can do everything with both hands. No, you cannot. Okay, I'm sorry. Carry on. Carry
So-
on. Get it?
Very clever.
I can slap you with my left or my right hand.
You know, like looking back at this case, you know, I said carry on, and we're covering Carrie. That case with Eileen, Bobby was, trying to come on Eileen by listening to "Come On, Eileen." Never mind. Go
I
ahead.
hate you.
Fine.
So,
What?
as a classic coming-of-age movie, we open with a shower scene where we
Oh,
see
yeah.
someone have a coming-of-age moment. Carrie is,
yeah.
16, 17 years old, senior in high school, and she starts her period in front of all of her classmates. I personally
yeah.
cannot imagine.
Like everybody is naked in this scene. Okay.
Yes.
Like, this was everything I imagined it to be, though. Like, is that girl wearing a miniskirt? Nope. That's just her map of Tasmania. You know, I'd never seen... It looked like... Never mind.
I thought this was some feminist movie.
It is.
Well, you know, it reminds me of the... I just knew deep in my heart that women's locker rooms were either like this or like the women's locker room in Teen Witch, where they all sang together.
Like the women's locker
boys.
room in Porky's
Something like that.
is what I imagine.
Okay.
As a woman who has been in women's locker rooms, I hate to
Yes.
shatter your dreams. It's
Don't do
pretty standard locker room, just changing and moving on. Sorry, y'all.
Well, pack it up, boys. It's been a good run.
Close it down.
It's been a good run.
So,
Well, you know, I think the only reason Carrie wasn't popular in this movie was because, like, no boy had ever watched her shower. That might be,
She
like...
would have been a little more popular.
Oh, yeah. Outside of just straight masturbation, that has got to be the most sensual bathing I've ever seen in my life. Like, she dropped the soap and my asshole didn't even slap shut. Okay, that's how sensual it was.
I mean...
I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Uncomfortable with the energy that Billy has brought us today.
That's the only energy I've got.
Well, we know what type of energy Billy brings to the table.
Just unadulterated, man. Unadulterated. I don't even know if that word means what I think it means. Well,
So
like
we
any
see
other
all these
intimate moment, the
girls-
period ruins it.
Well, sometimes it be like that. However, we see these girls go absolutely fucking feral. Carrie is freaking out because she has no idea what's happened to her, and we'll see a little bit more of why later when we meet her mom. Carrie's freaking out. She's screaming, running up to girls, grabbing them. They start pelting her with pads and tampons.
That's what I would have done. I mean, yeah, stop that. What are they yelling when they're throwing all these pads at her?
Plug it up.
Like, plug it up. Plug it up.
Plug it in.
Well, I'm sure those Glade plugins smell better than this room, but yeah, I mean, are all girls scared like this when they get their first period? Casey, Rick?
If you started bleeding uncontrollably from your dick and you didn't know what was happening, I argue you'd be scared too.
Well, it happens to me every 3 weeks, okay? You guys only get it like once every 4. So,
You know, I didn't know
Reminds
that.
me
I'll
of
keep
that
it in mind
scene
for
in The
later.
Lord of the Flies.
well, when it happens to me, I just look down and assume there's a new pope, but...
Every 3 weeks. The Catholic Church is a revolving door of popery.
Yeah, that's why they have to put the Roman numerals after their name.
Assume the position.
So, even the gym teacher comes in, slaps the shit out of this girl, trying to get her to calm down.
Yes! So, it reminded me of that
She
scene
absolutely
in...
manhandles her.
Completely! And it reminded me of that scene in Airplane where everybody's trying to calm the lady down and they all form a line behind, the person. There's a guy with a crowbar, there's a guy with a boxing glove, and, Leslie Nielsen's like, you gotta calm down, just slaps the shit out of her. I love this scene for all the wrong reasons.
Collins.
What?
That's a good old Miss Collins. It's her name.
Oh,
Miss Collins.
Hey,
played
in the
by
running for the
Betty
hammer.
Buckley, played by Betty Buckley, went on to originate the role of Grisabella in Cats and win a Tony.
We didn't even go over the cast, did we?
Oh shit, Rick, do your rundown.
I was
Do it, baby.
What are we doing? Okay, so obviously we're doing Carrie. Y'all know that by now already. The director, Brian De Palma, he's done a lot of amazing movies. He did The Untouchables, one of my all-time favorite mob movies. He's done Mission Impossible. He's done Body Double. He's done Carlito's Way. He's done Bow Out. Anyway, he's done Scarface. It was a book by Stephen King, and then it was made on November 3rd, 1976. It's 98 minutes. Its budget was only $1.8 million. It grossed over $33 million, so I'm pretty sure it did well. And some of the actors and actresses, Sissy Spacek, she plays Carrie White. She was in Coal Miner's Daughter. She was in The Help. She's been in a lot of other things. Piper Laurie played Margaret White, her mother. She was in the original movie The Hustler in 1961. She was in Children of a Lesser God in 1986. She won Golden Globes for Twin Peaks. The TV series Amy Irving played Sue. She has won some Golden Globes for film and stage and television. She's also a singer. William Catt played Tommy Ross. He's best known in a television series as the Great American Hero. He was in Butch Cassidy in Butch Cassidy in the early days. John Travolta, of course, everybody knows him as
Scientologist weirdo.
Yeah,
That too.
he was in Welcome Back, Connor. He's been in Saturday Night Fever. He's been in Phenomenon. He's been in Face Off. He's been in Get Shorty. He's been in the remake of Hairspray in 2007. Pulp Fiction. He's been in a lot of stuff. Grease. Nancy Allen played Chris. I really couldn't find out what she was in, honestly.
RoboCop, man. RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
She's a
Betty
female lead
Buckley,
in RoboCop.
as Casey said, she was in Gribbazilla. I've never seen Cats. Don't care to. PJ Souls. She's been in John Carpenter's Halloween. She was in Rock and Roll High School. Fun fact about her, she's a German-born actress. She's originally from Germany. Who knew that? Priscilla Pointer was Eleanor in the film. Couldn't really find a lot she was in. Billy, anyone know?
I don't even know who Priscilla was in the movie.
Priscilla Pointer was Eleanor, the character Eleanor.
I don't know who that is either.
All right, let's continue on.
She was Priscilla Pointer. Yeah, she played in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 or 3.
But who was she in this movie?
Eleanor was a car in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Mrs. Snell, right? Was
just Eleanor Snell was the character's name.
Yeah, she was Mrs. Snell.
And then Stefan Girish was the principal. He's just really known for a television and a film actor. And then there's a cameo by Brian De Palma's son, Cameron De Palma, who when the boy Davy Crockett Jr. lookalike gets yeeted off the bicycle. That's him.
Sure does.
He gets completely yeeted.
Yeah.
Well, when Sissy Spacek was prepping for this film, she stayed away from everybody. Like, she made sure that everybody was cool with it, but she stayed away from everybody in the cast. She surrounded herself with, like, heavy religious artwork, especially Gustave Doré's Illustrated Bible. And she really studied the body language of the people being stoned for their sins. And either ended or began every scene in one of those positions. Now that's something to like rewatch and look for, especially if you know what you're looking for, which I wouldn't know what to look for.
Well, even if you don't know what you're looking for, I think we see a whole lot of religious iconography in this movie, because once Carrie gets home, she's sent home from school, not before knocking over and shattering an ashtray off her principal's desk, which...
That nobody noticed.
Yeah, they just kind of seemed annoyed with it falling, but why would it fall smack off a desk with nobody touching it? Like, they should have been more alert.
Not only that,
a light bulb too.
Well, not only that though, that ashtray is sitting there wobbling on the table, making noise, and everybody's just like, "Well, Carrie, I don't know what's going on. How do you not look and see this ashtray moving?" And nobody seems worried about it whatsoever.
Unfazed. So we see Carrie sent home from school. We see her knock over the little Davy Crockett kid. And when she gets home, she walks into a house that is not like, you know how your mom might have a cross on her wall that says like live, laugh, love, or a Bible verse or something like that? That's not the dainty iconography of this house. This house is wall-to-wall religious emblems, signs, giant crucifixes, everything. And even beyond the decor of this house, we see a whole lot of people in like Christ pose. We see one of the coolest shots in this movie to me is the shot of Carrie looking in the mirror at herself with the big like Jesus imagery behind her that we also see through the mirror.
Well, Piper Laurie actually thought that her character was, too over the top to really be taken, into like a serious horror film. And, the director, De Palma, had to, tell her, like, look, this is not a black comedy. And she thought it was a black comedy. And I guess maybe looking at Nancy Allen and John Travolta's characters later, maybe they were a little bit laughable. Maybe they were comic relief. But, Piper Laurie thought that this was a black comedy. He had said, no, this is a horror film. So, she's constantly like breaking out into laughter between takes. And the dialogue itself was, humorous to her. And like to this day, she still feels that Carrie is a black comedy, which is the craziest thing in the world to me, especially knowing how the movie ends.
That's wild.
And it is over the top, but it's because of the person that we're seeing is, by all means, the most rabid, religious, absolute fastidious practice of Christianity.
But they go out of their way.
I've ever seen before.
They go out of their way to, I don't want to say misquote, but like not quote properly, the Bible. So I guess to not offend any religious people.
It's Pulp Fiction levels of not in the Bible.
Oh yeah, most certainly, and even the figurine that Sissy Spacek is praying to later isn't it's not Jesus. It's not a statue of Christ at all. It's Saint Sebastian. Does that sound right?
I didn't know.
Yeah,
no
so
clue.
that is definitely not that is definitely not Jesus. That is San Sebastian.
But does that mean her mom's Catholic then if she's praying to a saint? Can we infer that? No, or like?
I think she's doing her own thing.
Okay.
Because she's not saying anything out of the Bible. She's got her own opinions on, getting your period, which is a rite of passage that many women go through, is based solely in your sins. That you wouldn't get it if you were not a sinful person. So Carrie comes home. Her mom basically greets her by screaming at her and slapping her in the face with the fact that she is a sinner from hell and that all women are sinners and that the first sin was...
Lustful thoughts, maybe?
No. The first
Everybody
sin...
knows that's how you react to that situation.
Of course.
You mentioned something to her about sex.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out whether she was blaming her for having, but I don't know if she was blaming her for having sex or if she was blaming her for having lustful thoughts. I think she backed off the sex thing when, Carrie is saying, "No, Mama, I didn't sin." She's, "You must have thought about it or something." I can't remember exactly what the quote was.
Yeah. Then she shoves her in a closet, basically drags her. Carrie is also manhandled not 10 minutes after the first time, into a closet that she shuts her and locks her in the dark to pray and basically think about what she's done. Yeah,
and this one was a little bit difficult. This scene was a little bit difficult to watch because, honestly, and really to listen to, because Sissy Spacek has that Southern accent, a pronounced Southern accent, and it when she's begging her mom to stop what she's doing or to take it easy on her, she's like, "No, Mama, I didn't do." Well, that sounds like every kid I knew growing up, except for fucking James Brown. And whenever any kid that maybe I went to a sleepover or something, if they got in trouble and they were getting a spanking, they sounded just like this. So it was almost, I don't want to say triggering because I'm not at all triggered by it, but I mean, it just took me far back to childhood hearing, these parents who were not reasonable and not able to be reasoned with. And I just heard that pleading far too many times. Very good scene.
Great scene. So we see this girl who's being, emotionally and physically abused at school and then emotionally, physically abused at home.
It gets better nowhere.
No, she doesn't have any, point of relaxation or anything where she can decompress or find safety in her surroundings. She's just constantly at odds with the world.
And I did verify that the statue, the icon that she's praying to is St. Sebastian. And St. Sebastian's is actually a Catholic church in Santa Paula, California, where some of the parts of the movie were filmed, including that White House. But St. Sebastian was shot with arrows, and that'll come, that'll bear some significance later in the movie.
For sure. So from there, we've got Carrie in a closet. She's let out of the closet. And this is the first time I really noticed one of these shots that's really cool. Brian De Palma used something called a biop lens, where you can see something close up and something far away in the same shot clearly. So we see Carrie's mom at the front of the scene sewing, and we see Carrie in the back. And her mom sends her to bed, and she gets up to her room, and the scene that I was talking about earlier, she's looking in the mirror, and she's looking with such intensity, and we see that her room is pretty bare, not a lot going on, but she does have, this absolutely ominous Jesus picture in the background. So we see Carrie very clearly looking in the mirror, and then from behind we see this extremely ominous picture of Jesus looking right at her in the mirror as well. And then she cracks the mirror.
Yeah, and is this where the psycho music comes in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
so...
I'm going to ask that. I noticed during a lot of the scenes, was that on purpose, Casey, or...
Yeah, I looked into it as well just because I was curious, because you do hear it and that's, iconic within its own right. That little 4-note riff, I don't really know what you would call that. It happens multiple times in the movie, and it is supposed to be an homage to Psycho.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wasn't sure, and I heard it, and I was like, wait a second, that's from Psycho. I was like, okay.
The name of the high school is Bates.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Well, the name of the city or the town is Bates. So
Batesville or something.
Yeah. So Bates High School is where they go. But yeah, going back to the notes though, it is a 4-note violin theme, right? Apparently, De Palma didn't know, or at least wasn't sure. It was like after he made the decision to use that cue that he realized Psycho had already used the exact music, but he went with it anyway. And I'm guessing. I don't know why he wouldn't know that. Psycho came out in what, 60? 50? 61? What? 60?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about 16 years prior. I mean, surely he knew. I don't believe for a minute the thought that he didn't know.
I would think that too. Like that he would absolutely have to have come across that with how big Psycho is, or even like was at the time, groundbreaking works. As a filmmaker, alongside Hitchcock, you're going to see some of these more, famous movies. Because even at the time, that was a pretty big one.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So we see this through the crack mirror, and then we revert back to school, right? So we've got the teacher reading Tommy's poem. The kids are messing around, not really paying much attention. And then at the end, the teacher asks for criticism, and Carrie says the poem is beautiful, which is a nice thing to say. And everyone, including the teacher, immediately starts making fun of her. So even the teachers are not supportive of this girl. Like, Miss Collins, the gym teacher, kind of calmed down when she realized that Carrie was having a meltdown because she'd never had her period before. This teacher openly mocks her in front of a class full of students who already don't like this girl and make fun of her like crazy. And Tommy seems bothered by it.
Oh yeah, first of all, John Ritter was considered for this role.
Really?
I don't know how different that would have been, but I do feel like he would have brought a different level of, a few different layers. Yeah, John Ritter was supposed to play Carrie, James.
Billy
Is John Ritter the guy from Who's the Boss?
No, Three's Company. You know who
Three's
I'm talking
Company?
about, though. Yeah.
Joey Buttafuoco?
Definitely not.
What was
Definitely.
his name?
John Ritter was Jack Tripper.
No, Who's the Boss?
Tony Danza.
Tony Danza.
Come and knock on our door.
I like Tony Danza.
Yeah.
Billy, that mentioned that because Melanie Griffith was considered for Carrie.
Well, I'm glad she wasn't fully considered. She would have been fine. She would have been fine. But
She would've
Sissy
held her
Spacek, yeah, she would have held her
Who?
own. Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith.
That's what I said, James.
Anyway,
I guess you got a problem with Melanie Griffith.
Long-standing beef.
No, I was trying to
pick
who it is.
Okay. Well, we'll let you do that. But she was supposed to be Carrie, and it turned out to be Sissy Spacek, which I am so glad that Sissy Spacek played.
Or John Ritter.
Or John Ritter could have been a great Carrie. But here's the thing. The question that I have is, why is it that Carrie has this Southern accent and literally no one else in this film has it? Not even her own mother.
I mean, we're just talking about a mistake, right? Like, they didn't bother coaching this girl into speaking like she's not from the deepest of Souths.
Yeah.
Maybe she just moved there, Bill.
Rick didn't even notice.
But her mother. Oh God, yeah, Rick. I don't know how Rick doesn't notice being from Memphis.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really have an accent at all, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
How
listen
do
to
people
you.
from Memphis talk?
We get it, Rick. You're rich. You can afford speech lessons.
I know. Unlike James over here.
Oh no! Listen, if James was ever given money for speech lesson, he pocketed that money and went to Sonic. Look at these overalls I built.
Something else.
Look at these overalls I bought with my speech money, Bill.
Look at them overalls, Bill. Look at them.
Where were we?
I could be a classically trained actor when I bought these overalls instead.
So
Onward.
we break over to the gym where the girls who have absolutely brutalized Carrie in the locker room are getting a talking to and punished for their action. What did you guys think about this scene?
Well, this is where I really started to pay more attention to Nancy Allen than anyone else in this film. And I'll tell you right now, this is what solidified her as the Hammer. It wasn't even the scene where, she's giving helmet to Travolta and like talking to him at the same time.
That was my concern.
With no muffled. I'm not.
Like face down in his lap, just saying Billy over and over again while touching his chest, and then says, "I hate Carrie White."
Yeah, that's what did it for me. Just saying Billy with penis in her mouth was that's what got me.
She
Maybe it has
clearly
nothing
had
to do with her.
nothing in her mouth.
You call that technique?
She had that absolutely nothing in her mouth and was just
Wayne
talking
Turn
and
technique.
degrading a classmate.
Yeah, she just put it like in the side of her cheek, like a squirrel hides, acorns. And
Didn't he
like,
slap her in the car? Didn't he do that?
like, listen, they
Yeah,
slapped each other
multiple
throughout
times.
this film.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, just kidding. Come on to me now." And I'm like, "Dude, what the hell?"
Yeah, like she was literally, throat deep on Travolta 5 seconds after he slapped her.
Yeah.
Well, some people like that type of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, well, but back to the gym scene. You really start to see Miss Gym Teacher. What's her name?
Miss Collins.
Miss Collins. You really see Miss Collins as kind of, the caretaker because, Carrie's not getting it at home. She's not getting any support at school. Even the teachers are making fun of her. Miss Collins has really taken over as the guardian here. And, she's going to remain that through the film. And, like, what's funny about this is she's, 2 years older than anybody in this film, and she's playing their teacher?
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, and she puts all those girls through the ringer, giving them the spiels about how, you don't know how she feels. I'm going to take away your prom passes. And they're like, what the hell? No, you can't do that. And then she's like, oh, just kidding. You'll get 15 days of, what did she say, 15 days of detention or whatever? And then...
they get a week of detention. She wanted them to have 3 days suspended.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, and then she's like, oh, by the way, you can get your prom passes taken away if you don't show up. And I'm like, okay, I like this woman now because she's sticking up for Carrie,
Yeah, she's one of very few good adults in this film.
Yeah.
This reminds me of that time I got in trouble.
Oh,
Bill,
Which one?
remember that?
yeah.
I got in trouble. I had to go to ISS.
Oh,
I wrote that werewolf story.
what?
You don't remember that?
I don't remember
Did you
you
write
ever
the
getting
werewolf?
I got like so many checks in one day.
a check is like a
And I had to go
demerit.
Huh?
I'm just explaining to the listeners and to our panel here what checks were. You got to go to the bathroom when when you're in the middle of class. The teacher's going to give you a check. You get 2 checks. You got to serve them.
No. It's
some
like
of us,
chewing
right?
gum.
Yeah,
Chewing class or
anything that's a
talking
demerit.
out of line or something.
Listen, you're going to tell me that you don't get checks for going to the restroom
I
during
never
class?
got no check for going to the bathroom.
Okay, by God, we'll go back in time and talk to Coach Duffer during social studies class in 7th grade when that bastard gave me a check for going to the restroom. And I that's the day I threw up at school, James, because I got sick smelling those damn dissected sharks.
What?
Anyway, carry on with your story. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I got I don't know, you got so many checks in one day, you got in-school suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did it. I got the number of checks it took to get a 1 day of ISS.
Which is like 4 or 5.
Sat in that little room all day, and I wrote a werewolf story. I'm pretty sure I shared it with you, Bill.
You've never shared this story with me
Come
whatsoever.
out of prison,
and I hate you for it.
I'd gained 10 pounds and wrote a werewolf picture.
Well, what happened in the picture, James?
I don't know. I still got it somewhere probably. It was like 5 or 6 pages. I was very creative in there by myself.
Well, as big as you write, that's like 3 paragraphs. Okay.
It
Well,
was a pretty good story, Bill.
I bet it was if it had a wolf and your penmanship. But, during this scene, though, Casey, where Miss Collins is chewing out all the girls in school, the director is actually standing behind or just off the screen of Sue, who's played by Amy Irving, Hammer candidate. But he's whispering all this terrible thing, these terrible things into her ears to make the look on her face seem genuine. I don't know why he would do that.
That she looks bad?
Maybe.
Or that she looks upset, rather, I should say.
Mm-hmm, that she looks, more upset. But, I don't know. Maybe you want to trust your actors to be able to pull that off.
Well, that reminds me of a very famous thing later on in Scream. And during the opening scene, Wes Craven is actually on the phone with Drew Barrymore whispering or telling her facts about animal abuse because she's such a big, PETA-inspired vegetarian stuff. So directors definitely will take their cues to get you to act the way they want you to act.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
And in the movie Shocker, he's on the front porch when he comes outside and asks what the commotion is.
What?
Well, hey.
The one where
bought them overalls, Bill. They should have went to acting class.
You should have gone to acting class, James. We could have been out of this little one-horse town.
Yeah.
So what's Miss Collins do? She makes them like hit these calisthenics, right? Like just basically beats their asses with exercise.
Yep, because it is her detention.
Oh.
So we get this montage of girls exercising while looking mad.
Rivaled only by Rocky Balboa.
And it's close.
It's so close. Who plays
But
Chris?
eventually-
Chris is Nancy Allen, right?
Chris is Nancy Allen, who De Palma later married.
That son of a bitch.
He took it from you. You had no chance.
Well, all I remember is her line saying, "Shove him up your ass," to Miss Collins, and I don't remember.
She sure did. Yeah, she walked out of there. She was not having it. So, with that
I don't remember
option,
ever
she
having
walks
that
out.
happen in school, though. Like, I never had detention with anybody where they were just going to take me out and make me do exercise until I was almost dead. That didn't happen until, like, football or baseball practice.
Yeah, that never.
Nah.
You sat in class and did your work. I mean,
that's the
I had to
difference
write
between
an
76 to
apology
86. Oh, writing
We always had to
things
write
was
apology letters. Yeah, that's all we had to do.
amazing.
Chris, though, declines all of the rest of detentions from the rest of that day and the next 4. So she gets 3-day suspension and the refusal of her prom tickets. So she is not taking Billy, aka John Travolta, to prom.
Oh, but they're up to some things, though.
Up to no good.
No good at all.
So the girls are doing exercises. Carrie is reading in the library about telekinesis. After that is when we see the incredibly healthy relationship of Billy and Chris, and then debatably the worst blowjob of all time.
Or the best. Listen,
Worst.
Listen, that unfiltered, uninhibited, dirty talk while getting helmet.
You mean saying that you hate one of your classmates?
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
there's no faster way for me to pop off than to hear her say, "I hate Rick."
Okay, so we have that beautiful scene.
Just
It
throw it
definitely
out.
seems like they're up to no good. And then we see Tommy, a cute little juxtaposition. Tommy meets up with Carrie in the library after Sue determines that he's to ask Carrie to prom to make up for the bad things she did in the locker room.
And to be such a logical guy, he agrees to this pretty quickly.
Yeah, he seems fine with it. I mean, we don't even seem to see much of Sue explaining what happened. He's just pretty ready to go with it once she's got her mind set.
But once he's in the middle of this, he's treating this like a real deal relationship.
He definitely seems to have a soft spot for Carrie.
Yeah, and at no point is he just none the wiser, or is he just cool letting this happen because he knows that somebody's up to no good?
I think he just sees how seriously Sue is taking this. And he knows, like, to make her happy, he's going to go along with it. But I also think, on the side, he's like, I think there's more to Carrie than meets the eye. Because no one really knows her, right? Everybody's just been openly mocking her since they were, like, 5.
Right.
But he seems to think there's something more.
And for no apparent reason, they've been mocking her. Like, she looks completely normal. I think in casting this, they had something completely different in mind. She's the only one not wearing any makeup in the movie, first of all. And she still
That would
looks...
be a sin.
Of course, that would be a sin. And she completely... I guess there's nothing to look at and say, hey, I'm going to bully this person over these attributes. Usually there's like some kind of like fucking, I don't know, an acne problem, or there's like a stupid haircut, or just something that you can point at to say, this is the reason I'm going to pick on this person. But no, there's nothing that I can really, find that's discernible to use as that ammunition.
Yeah,
I think
she's just not
the
wearing
casting,
makeup
I think-
and debatably bad at volleyball.
Yeah, and like debatably, like you said, but when you really look at this, I think the casting was meant to be, and if you've read the book, and because I have not, there's a possibility that maybe the character Carrie in the book was more of a fluffy girl with some issues, whereas Carrie in the movie just doesn't wear makeup.
Yeah,
And
in the
that
book,
might not even be a real thing. That might just be, I guess, movie makeup. You know, that might be the movie minimalization of Carrie's character, and not so much the actual Carrie character.
Yeah. I don't want to be like that bitch that's like, in the book but here I will, because you mentioned it. They do mention that in the book, Carrie's kind of a thick girl with some acne issues.
Thick
But
with
they
two
even
C's.
say, yeah, they just use a CK, but in the year of our Lord 2021, we use two C's. So, but even they mention, like, with a little cleaning up and maybe a little mascara, lipstick, kind of like what Miss Collins says to her after Tommy asked her to the prom, that she could be a really pretty girl. And they do say that she looks beautiful at prom, just like we see.
Right. And it almost looks like showing up to the prom with Tommy didn't look out of place. Only if you know Carrie and you know this is the girl that we bully, do you really think, oh, well, that's a weird pairing. Whereas in the book, it's supposed to be visibly a very weird pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that fair?
But we get yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But we get this prom asking, and she kind of panics, leaves immediately. And then she meets up with Miss Collins, who kind of talks her through it, right? She's taken on this caretaker role, which no one else is offering, and walks her through, you know, maybe do this, maybe touch up that. You know, you'll have fun. He's a nice guy kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, she would know, right? Because, you know, Tommy's been around forever. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He's got this, like, a mallet for a D. And so, yeah, go with him.
Meanwhile, though, she is asking Sue and Tommy what the hell's going on.
To which she gets what reply, though?
We're not trying to hurt her.
Yeah, we're not trying to hurt her.
Which they're not. They are well-intentioned. Maybe
Yeah,
a little misguided.
A little misguided, but, I mean, all the unraveling comes later, and that's where shit gets really interesting. But, I mean, I don't want to get, like, too far, but thinking about, I guess, the slaughterhouse scene.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that one did me in. I like
It's
to think
a sad
that
one.
Yeah, I like to think that my food just comes from the store, and that's where it originated. Like they have meat plants in the back, you know.
Yeah, so we do eventually see Carrie say yes, kind of under duress, and she doesn't accept until he says, "You like my poem," and then she kind of backs up but says yes. And then we cut to the I wouldn't call it a prank. What would you call it? Like, prank seems too menial and lighthearted.
Well, I mean
assault? Perhaps?
Yeah, it may as fucking well be an assault because
crime.
Yeah, I mean a prank is what I do to James every time I see him, and yeah, it's nowhere near this level. But yeah, we'll call it an assault. Assault sounds right.
See Billy, his group, and Chris go out to a pig farm, and they've got something going on. We know later, of course, what it is, but to the unbeknowing, we're watching this scene, and they're just gonna kill pigs and get their blood.
Oh, but what for? Oh.
Yeah, and that's ominous. Like, before Carrie, I can't imagine that anyone ever did anything like this. I mean,
yeah,
maybe.
So we know all this
is not a
years later.
Prank.
Right. No, this is, I think this is a first time type of thing. Watching the movie 40 years later, it being such an iconic movie, we know what happened. It's alluded to in, many movies that kind of were, I guess, shown in homage. Or, Carrie was shown in homage in many movies later. I think they brought it up in Scream, using the pig's blood. Corn syrup was the pig's blood. But for a first-time viewer, not knowing anything, you probably got no clue what's about to happen.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely not. Of course, like, by the time I saw this, I did know what happened because you know about it because it's everywhere. But for a first-time viewer in 1976, there's apprehension. Like, you don't really know.
Who here went to prom?
I went to prom.
Nope, never went to any of them.
Never went to prom. Oh, you uppity fuck.
Did you go to prom, Billy?
Oh, I went to prom. I went to my senior prom.
James?
Mm-mm-mm.
James isn't going to tell us if he went to prom. It's a secret. Top secret, apparently.
I think we've lost James. He was having connection issues earlier, and I believe they are back. Yeah, that's a bummer. Well, is he back?
What?
You're back. Welcome
Yes.
back. You get those internet issues worked out?
I think so.
Good.
Good
Did
to
you
hear.
go to senior prom?
No.
You didn't go to senior prom. I thought I thought we hung out after prom when I had to drop my date off at like 9:30 because of her Carrie-like parent. That's not true. I'm sorry, Kayla. That's not true. It's not true at all. I mean, these are really nice people, and I'm trying to be funny. So, no, I'm not going to put that evil on them. But I did have to drop her off at 9:30, and I came back out and went bowling. Pretty sure James was there. So, any weird shit happened while you were at prom, guys? Or was it pretty standard?
I cannot think of any weird shit that happened at prom. I think it was incredibly standard.
The only thing I can think of that I did at prom was... did that fucking worm dance that everybody, that at least one jackass out of the crew wants to do, and that was me. Yeah, never again.
I pictured that.
Yeah, never again. But yeah, that was me. We basically recreated something that was kind of hot at the time in wrestling. So that's what we did. But anyway, we're at the prom though. Tommy and Carrie are doing their thing.
They are indeed, and they look great. But
that immaculate head of hair from Tommy.
Well, before we go to prom, though, we talk to Carrie's mom again. Ooh, Carrie tells her mom she's going to prom. Her mom doesn't love it, and we basically see a epic throwdown between Carrie and her mom, where Carrie tells her mom things are going to be different. She's not going to her closet. And she stands up to her mom in a really interesting way.
Carrie takes back control because she knows that she's no longer subject to mom's scrutiny. People are accepting her. She belongs now.
And her mom doesn't like that at all, because her mom does want her on the outskirts of everything, because she believes that everything that normal people are doing is a sin.
That, and she's losing control. Like, one thing that... Ooh, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. One thing that Carrie's mother needs is control. And the only person that a crazy person like that can control is someone who has to, quote-unquote, report to her. And that, up until this point, has been Carrie.
But even when Carrie tells her that she was asked to prom, her mom's throwing tea in her face. And Carrie comes back with an attitude that is not accepting of that behavior at all. Carrie, we see her getting ready. We see the boys getting ready in a really heartwarming, wholesome scene where they're shopping for tuxedos together. But we see Carrie trying on lipstick. We see her making this decision and sticking to it that she is attending the prom, but her mom's not having it.
And good for her. I'm all for some, teenage rebellion, but this is not rebellion. This is just taking back control over someone who's basically tyrannical.
Absolutely.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
A Tyrannosaurus Rex such as Carrie's mother. And I believe we've got some audio teed up of that conversation.
Red. I might have known it would be red.
It's pink. What Tommy gave me, Mama. Aren't they beautiful?
I can see your dirty pillow. Everyone.
Breasts. They're called breasts, and everyone has them.
Take off, Jen. We'll burn it together and pray for forgiveness.
No, Mama.
Well, he's not coming.
He is coming, Mama. Now stop it. I'm nervous enough.
No, he's not coming. He's not going to come.
Go away. Stop it, Mama. Stop hurting yourself, Mama.
He's going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you.
Look,
it's not too late. You can stay here with me.
I don't want to stay with you, Mama.
Look, I'll answer the door and I'll tell him that you're sick. I'll tell him that you changed your mind.
Sit down and be quiet.
Look, I'll tell him that you changed your mind.
Just sit there, Mama, and don't say a word until I'm gone. I'll be home early. I love you, Mama.
Now shut up.
So even Carrie is taking on this situation where she feels like she can be in control, and her mom is still trying to undermine her at every step, telling her that everybody's going to laugh at her, that her prom date's not coming, just trying to make her feel stupid and make her feel like she's powerless once again to get her control back, basically. And Carrie's not having it.
No, she's not having it at all. And this is for me, the turning point of everything, because this means that she's not going to be at prom worrying about anybody's opinions at home. This is her. She's going to have a good time. She's going to be nervous because she's got this Hercules of a man with her, but no, she's running shit from now on, and I dig that. I dig this turning point. Standing up to her evil mom, I'm going to go out and have a good time.
And literally standing over her, because Carrie uses her telekinetic abilities to slam her mom down on the bed twice.
Oh yeah, she's starting to let loose now. Like, she's coming unglued. And I feel like, I don't know for sure, but I feel like this is probably maybe a prelude to what we're going to see. Maybe it's meant to build up to what we're going to see, because earlier all we saw was, a cracking mirror and a wobbly ashtray. But now we're seeing, actual fighting back, actual taking control of someone and moving them forcefully.
Yep.
It's going to come to a head, and we know what's going to happen. But right now we're seeing just slight, a slight incline to what the powers can be.
And then we also see everybody's getting preparation for prom, even Chris and Billy's friends. So Billy's friend asked to count ballots for prom king, which seems a little shady. And then we see Sue talking to a friend about how Tommy is taking Carrie to prom. I'd like to check back in with Norma, the girl with the hat. We see her with a friend at the hairstylist. She's got her head in curlers under the dryer. The hat is perched atop. My favorite.
But later on, we see her at prom with a hat back on and the hair up. So she just wanted to spend all this money and and not have her perfect hair moment like I know all women desire.
Well, sometimes you just go with the hat anyway, Bill.
Well, I know that's what I do.
The look.
It does.
There's been many times I fixed my hair and I decided to put a hat on.
Well, when you start combing through that thing and you find that bald spot, you say, you know what? Maybe a hat is what I need.
I ain't got no bald spot, Bill.
Talking about me.
Oh.
Relatable content for all of our listeners.
Well, what? It might not be for all of them, but it is for some of them, and I feel you.
Why do I want to bring up that time I stabbed Miss What's-Her-Name in the hand with that pencil?
What?
What?
Go ahead. Take the reins.
It's all you, James.
Why do I feel like...
You said that part already.
I don't know.
That would be Miss Patton.
I might have dreamed it. I don't know.
No, you definitely didn't dream it, because you were sitting, 3 o'clock to me, buddy. Right to my right. Sitting at the same little 2-person desk as I was. This was in our 6th grade reading class. Miss Patton was our teacher, and she, she might be dead by now. I don't know. She was old then. But she was a little bit... She reminded me of Mrs. Havisham from Great Expectations. That's a very deep reference. I realize it, but fuck it. That's who she reminded me of. She was just an old lady who died of a broken heart. But she dressed like Carolyn Ingalls, and James is sitting there at his desk holding his pencil like he's holding a fucking pitchfork, and the lead part of it is sticking up instead of down. And she's just passing out papers like there's no tomorrow. And she's passing them out like, she's putting, waffles on a plate, okay? And she puts her hand down to put the paper on James's desk, and her hand goes right onto that sharpened pencil. And she almost sucked the air out of the room when she went... And she grabbed her hand and rushed off, and James was like, I'm sorry.
Shit.
It might have been the greatest thing that ever happened to us and the worst thing that ever happened to her, other than being dead. But it's something we're never going to forget. James, I commend you on remembering that.
I felt like I had to bring it up, Bill. I don't know why.
Well,
rebellious student.
It's relevant. Yeah, Well, this was an accidental thing. If we would talk about a rebellious student, we'll talk about the time James was putting spit on the end of an ink pen and flicking it on the guy in front of him, and he put a little bit too much force between or behind the flick, and the fucking ink pen went flying up to the teacher. And as I was the only one watching James do this from across the classroom, and when the pen went flying, it hadn't even hit the floor yet, and James is already like looking off into space, like I didn't do it. I was over here thinking about books and such. And our history teacher, Coach Allen, looks up from his book. He's all right, who did it? And the class is dead silent because nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. And only James and I know. And I'm over there laughing my balls off. Like, there's no way Mr. Allen can't just look at me and say, Billy, did you do it? And if you didn't, who did? Because I was the only one laughing. James was scared to death he was going to get busted. And for 5 minutes, Mr. Allen is like, just tell me who did it. Just tell me who did it. And I'm laughing until my face is purple. He never asked me. And James's response after 5 minutes of interrogation was, I didn't mean to. And Coach Allen says, I know you didn't, James. And I'm like, well, what the fuck was all that for, Coach? Like, what was this whole thing for if you're just going to bend over when James says, I didn't mean to? And if you're listening, Brandon Castile, it was your neck that James was flicking spit onto. I mean, it's 20 years later, James. Nobody cares. But those might be my two most memorable classroom hijinks that I can really think of. I'm sorry that went off on such a derailment, but it needed to be said.
It did. So
onward. James, what are you doing over there? Are you sitting on a fucking leather beanbag and just like scooting your ass around on it?
No, I can tell you what I'm doing.
Are you hunting foxes right now? What's going on?
Release the hounds. Well, I know I'm sitting here pulling the rubber ends off this microphone you gave me.
Well, that's the worst thing in the world to do. That's all I can hear.
I'm sorry.
I know you are, James.
I didn't mean to.
I know you are, James. Carry on, Casey. I apologize on behalf of my water-headed friend.
So we see possibly the dizziest dance scene in history.
Say it again. I gotta hear it.
Water-headed, James. Water-headed. Okay. Because you shake your head and all you can hear is water slashing around in there.
Woo.
Okay, we're back to it.
Did you guys get dizzy at this dancing scene, though? For real, I did.
Yeah, I'm dizzy right now.
So what they did was I don't think they spun the actors, right? They did some kind of situation where, or maybe they did spin them in one direction, and then
the camera was going the other.
And it just made it look like, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like
nauseating.
2 times. Yeah, well, nauseating is a perfect word.
Yeah, I always have to look away. I've seen this movie a million times, but I always have to look away during that part.
Well, I was watching the movie on my laptop, and I didn't get too dizzy from it, but I did think, man, that does not look like just a regular spin. So I had to look it up, and I did see that it was done, with the two-way opposite direction spin.
Is this what you tried to send me, Bill?
What? I didn't try to send you anything.
That's spinning shit.
No. Oh, no. What I sent you, James, was just showing you a scene from the movie that I was watching it. Maybe as a reminder that either A, hey, you need to watch this movie before the podcast recording, or B, if you haven't seen this movie or if you haven't seen this scene in the movie you watched, then you've watched the wrong movie.
You know I watched this movie, Bill.
Well, just killing two birds with one stone. Two stones with one bird.
I'm always on top of my homework.
Yeah.
We do, though, see them kiss during the dance.
Again, taken aback by that because I didn't think Tommy was that far into this. But I mean, he's playing the role,
I think he's really having a good time with her. They're getting to know each other. They're having fun. They're dancing. He gets her some punch, all that classic shit. But then they're having a good time on the dance floor. He teaches Carrie how to dance, and it's fun. She's having a great time for her first big outing. He's doing the world for this girl.
You went to a senior prom, Bill?
Yes, I did. And Tommy was doing the world for her. He basically that night hung the moon for Carrie White. Of course I went to the senior prom, James.
Hey, the time of my life.
That's what we're watching next week, by the way. Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. That's good. Yeah, well,
nobody puts Baby in a corner.
James
I kind of watch a movie I want to watch.
Yeah, we're watching Dirty Dancing. I said that.
I like Dirty Dancing.
So, At one point,
Patrick
though,
Swayze's a man among men.
we
Isn't it a
see
man among
Sue
boys?
sneaking. He could be a man among men too. Damn.
He's an angel among boys.
Well, all right.
Yeah, you're not wrong now. R.I.P. Patrick
We
Swayze.
see truth. We see Sue sneak into prom through the side door. We get a glimpse of Norma kicking the real prom ballots under a table and revealing a stack of fake ballots that she gives to them to count. And we see Chris and Billy under the stage and get a glimpse of the bucket balanced precariously atop the stage. So what we're seeing is Tommy and Carrie getting set up to be prom king and queen with a bucket atop them for some reason that we don't know yet.
And it feels like this whole sequence prior to, hitting go on the actual prank, if you will, it feels like this whole thing is 30 years long and all of it's in slow motion.
I did watch I have the DVD of Carrie, and in some of the bonus features, they have like 2 mini documentaries, and one of them is the making of the movie, which is actually fascinating. If you can get a hold of the DVD of Carrie, or even see if this is on YouTube, it might be. De Palma talks about getting this, what he called a figure 8 shot during the prom, and it's basically not a tracking shot, but a shot around the room in kind of a figure 8 motion to see everything that's going on. And that's what's happening right now when we see everything and we see what's about to go down. Now, of course, we see Tommy and Carrie voted as prom king and queen. They voted for themselves, even though Carrie wasn't originally about to. And one thing that I love is that he says, "To the devil with false modesty." She repeats him, "We see where the ballot is checked for them," and suddenly the screen glows red from one of the lights in the gym. Ominous, appealing, and foreshadowing to what's to come.
Yeah, and like things are about to get absolutely batshit crazy in what is easily a top 10, well, we can't call it the final scene, but at least a top 10 horror movie climax.
I'm putting that in my top 5, but I agree.
I won't argue with top 5, but it's easily top 10.
Yeah. So we see Sue is kind of the one who clues us in to the rope going up to the bucket. She's trying to figure out what's happening. Miss Collins sees her, thinks she's up to something, and pulls her back from the stage as she's trying to set a warning. The rope is pulled, and Carrie and Tommy, who look so happy, Carrie is covered in blood. Absolutely top to bottom covered in pig's blood, which is disgusting, embarrassing, and horrifying.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where she was warned by her mother that everyone was going to laugh at her.
And that's all she hears.
And that's all she hears. And, we questioned Tommy's motives earlier. And we see that once this happens, he turns and that bucket hits him in the back of the head, knocks him out. We see that he wasn't expecting that at all, and his intentions were pure. But I mean, even Miss Collins, trying to help matters, it's not enough. Shit's about to go down. Like, Carrie's had enough.
Yep.
And what do we see?
So everything starts to go down. So she hears all her bullying. Good Lord. She is one moment having the greatest night of her life, gets a kiss on stage from her date, who he's a popular kid. She's never been a popular kid. She's having a great time. Now she's covered in blood. He gets knocked down, possibly out, by the bucket. The lights go red and Carrie locks all the doors and she turns on a fire hose. And we're just seeing people fall left and right, getting sprayed down by the hose, right?
Oh yeah, they're getting yeeted left and right. The water hose is getting them. The fucking the doors are closed on them. They're all panicking. It's like
some girl get
it's like
the
it's like the,
on the wall
yes, it's like the Inglourious Basterds scene. In the movie theater. Spoiler alert. But they can't get out. They're trapped. Shit's the water hose is going crazy. A fire has broken out. Everyone, well, most everyone is about to be fried to a crisp,
or burned alive,
or burned alive,
shocked to death by the microphone.
That was one of my that one was a really good one. What does she drop in the she drops something in the water, right?
Yeah.
I think, is it one of the lights?
Maybe it's one of the lights that drops into the water and
it turned in the punch bowl.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is what you get, though. This is what you get.
We also had a question from one of our listeners, which was, why do you think Carrie killed the teacher that was nice to her so brutally? We see Miss Collins get basically slammed almost in half by a rafter in the gym.
That's what it was.
I thought about that as well, and the only thing I can chalk that up to is blind rage.
That's what I kind of thought too. I don't think it was pointed.
That's what you call collateral damage.
I mean,
perfect.
Think about it this way.
Also a good movie starring my hero Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And the building's burning up and the fire's going on. She shuts the fucking door.
Yeah, she locks the doors. Sue gets out. Now we see Sue get out. We see Billy and Chris get out, but everyone else is in the gym.
Yeah, she shuts the door.
Like
Sure
Billy
does.
and Chris get out, and those are the two culprits, basically. With the highest level of culpability, and they're the ones that get out. But I mean, they don't make it far.
So she kills almost everyone at the prom.
Amazing scene.
And then she leaves.
Doesn't Billy and the girl's name, I can never remember her name.
Chris.
Yeah, they get in the car, they try to run her over, and then she makes the car swerve and then wreck, and she blows it up.
She does. She's killing anyone and everyone in sight, and obviously they attack her.
Again, this climax is amazing. First of all, you always want the bullied to get their revenge.
Yeah,
and she more than got that.
If we're naming like movies where people got a righteous amount of revenge, this is my number one. Like, this girl has been nothing but bullied and abused her entire life, and the one night that she thought she had was taken away from her. And she takes it out on everyone. She makes it absolutely everyone's problem.
Now, it is sad that Mrs. Collins had to to bite the dust as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just how it went. That Mrs. Collins, even though she tried, she couldn't stop. She couldn't stop the bullying. She couldn't stop. I guess she couldn't stop this night from happening. I don't know why she couldn't take away the rights of all these women to come to the prom. I guess she only got Chris and Chris mainly. I was going to say and Billy. I don't even know that Billy goes to the school, does he?
In the book he does. In the movie they don't really make it clear.
They don't really say. Well,
I thought he did go to school in the movie. Does he not?
What?
I thought he did go to her school in the movie. Does he not?
We never really show him at the school. We just show him outside of the school being a hoodlum.
Okay.
Well, I mean, for Carrie, though, all's well that ends well. And if revenge was her idea of ending well, then it ended really fucking well. Well,
and it continues ending when she gets home. We see her get home. We see her yet again naked. We see titties once more. But Hooray. She cleans herself. She takes a bath. She rinses all the blood off, which, of course, I'd rather do the same. I did read, before I go further, that rather than change and get blood dumped on her again, Sissy Spacek basically lived in this outfit and covered in blood for 3 days for continuity purposes for the filming of the movie.
Slept in it.
Wow.
Slept in it. Pretty gross, but...
That's dedication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute dedication. Because of this movie, Sissy Spacek gets just so much more respect from me. I mean, I've seen her in a lot of stuff. Man, listen, at this center where I work, they play a lot of Tennessee music throughout the night. And about 5 o'clock every fucking night, I've got to hear Loretta Lynn's Don't Come Home Drinking with Lovin' on Your Mind. And I hate her for it. And when I think Sissy Spacek, one of a few iconic roles would be that of Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter. I do kind of resent her for that. However, she's actually got nothing to do with that. But this movie alone projects Sissy Spacek into the stratosphere.
So we see her get home. When we see her walk into the bathroom, we've got another one of those cool shots that I like, where we see Carrie in the front ground and her mom hiding behind the bathroom door in the background.
Mm-hmm. Creepy.
When Carrie comes out of the background, her mom kind of goes into a weird regaling of her conception is the word that I'm seeking.
Yes.
Talks about how Carrie's dad was drunk and that she enjoyed having sex, even though she says that intercourse is the first sin. She's got this absolute fixation, if not obsession, with sexuality and how it is, to her, a sin which is worse than any crime imagined.
Yeah, and it seems like she's only really worried about the sins of, that revolve around sex. So
yeah,
this is like a major projection onto Carrie throughout the movie.
And for this to be a movie that starts with a girl getting her period, and like our listener said, it's a coming of age movie. It's a coming of age movie that deals with a lot of teen sexuality, and the Carrie's mom is having none of it. She is basically crucifying Carrie for that, and in return, Carrie crucifies her.
Yeah, very
Margaret
much so.
Stabs her in the back, chases her through the house, which is wall-to-wall candles, by the way, and Carrie levitates knives at her, stabbing her hands into the wall frame around her, and then knives into her body, mimicking the statue of Saint Sebastian, right?
Yes, correct. So I guess there's a dispute of continuity, not really continuity, of just a goof, I guess. A blooper, something that shouldn't be but is, that we see Carrie's mother dead, standing straight up with hands, knifed into the door framing, but it's done that way on purpose to mimic the posing of the Saint Sebastian statue. Very very nice ending
for the mom.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, for us viewing, the mom, Carrie gets her revenge on everybody, a little bit of collateral damage, but she gets out of the clutches of her mother, at least for the time being. I don't think Carrie meets a positive ending after this.
No, I will say about the shot where her mom is getting stabbed, what they did was they were pulling the knives out, like they were placed on her, and they pulled them out and then ran the film backwards so it looked like she was being stabbed, which I thought was neat.
Yeah, very neat.
So Carrie then destroys the house, raining small boulders, basically, into the house, which crushes it and destroys it, taking her with it.
Mm-hmm. Again, there's got to be some kind of deeper, reference that comes from this. Maybe biblical, I don't know. Maybe somebody else is going to have more information on that. But this ending, you almost had to know that Carrie wasn't going to make it through the movie. I mean, because you don't just go on a rampage like that and not become, the target of, police, the military, someone. So you have to think that she's not just going to live happily ever after. And, taking her own, I don't know if she meant to take her own life. She just didn't get out of the house as, those, the rocks were falling. But it's a fitting end, I guess. Very sad, though. She didn't deserve it, but it's what she got.
Where did those rocks come from, Bill?
They were asteroids, James.
How do you know she didn't make it out? She's got superpowers.
It's true. It's true.
I think she had a lot of regret towards killing her mom, though, because immediately after, she's yanking her mom back out of the wall and crying, calling out for her mom, who is unfortunately dead. And I think with all the revenge that she took, there's still that little girl inside of her who's scared of the world around her and kind of can't believe what she did.
And those superpowers, James. Yeah, those superpowers, James, aren't just, any type of superpower. It's only telekinesis. So having these, rocks, fall into her home and then her home implode onto her doesn't keep her safe just because she knows how to, move an ashtray with her mind.
Well, she could have made a shield around her, though, Bill.
What kind of shield, James? It's only telekinesis.
Telekinetic shield.
Did she, surround herself with fine china from the kitchen?
Bill.
Here we go.
There's one thing I've learned about special powers.
Oh.
Just one.
Most of the time you can make a shield around you with your powers.
Okay, so I guess that's a hard rule. If you've got special powers, built in with those special powers is the ability to play Fortnite with your surroundings.
I don't know what that was. And I don't know what Fortnite is. But yes.
I don't know what Fortnite is, but absolutely.
Go ask your neighbor, James.
Yeah.
I don't have any neighbors, Rick.
Yeah, he lives out in... Go ask the crazy lady living in your barn.
She's gone. I called the law on her.
The law. Okay, well, I mean, that's all I've got for this movie, man.
That's all you've got?
I mean,
that's the scariest part.
That's not the scariest part. The scariest part is being locked in a fucking gymnasium and being burned alive.
Pretty scary, but we do have to talk at the end of the end.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had a couple questions. I understand.
Oh, this is what you had the question.
So, as a quick overview, Sue, the only actual survivor of the prom, is kind of having like a post-traumatic stress reaction, right? Her mom's talking about how she didn't let her go to the funerals because it was too hard, and that she's sleeping a lot. She's doing better, but she was having issues. And in this sequence, we see her carrying flowers. We see the remains of Carrie's house with a for sale sign vandalized that says Carrie White burns in hell. And Sue, who still feels this level of retribution, right? Like, she still wants Carrie. She wanted the best for Carrie. She really did. She feels bad for what she did. She atoned by having Tommy take her to the prom. And she's putting flowers on more or less what her grave would be. And suddenly, what happens? Carrie's bloody fucking arm shoots out from beneath the gravel and grabs her forearm. Now we see Sue wake up that it's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess who had the shield powers?
Oh my god, she's not alive. It was a dream.
Or was it because she's telekinetic?
What?
You know what I'm trying to say, Bill. She's a telekinetic person.
She sure as hell is. She's the most telekinetic person I've ever met.
I know Stephen King tells a story of he and his wife going to see this movie. Now, I should say, I'm not trying to be that bitch that's like, well, the book did this. The book does have a completely different ending than the movie. And Stephen King actually said he prefers the movie's ending. I won't say what the book says, but, if you're interested, go read it. It's a great book.
Stephen King hated this movie.
What?
Stephen King loves this movie. Stephen King absolutely loves this movie.
Stephen King hated this book.
He might have hated the book. Stephen King's worst book, I'd like to introduce him to a lot of his books.
Yeah.
So
you better pump the brakes on that one. That man's a national treasure.
No, I love Stephen King so much, but he's written way worse.
Yeah, he's written some garbage, but he's also written some great books. But
yeah.
What about Rick's question?
Carries the garbage.
Yeah, let's get Rick's question first.
Okay, so when she reaches up from the, what used to be her house, does that imply that Carrie's still alive?
No, she's dead.
Yes.
It's a dream.
Okay, but if it's a dream, then if she was dreaming, does that mean everything was a dream then?
No.
She can control your mind.
Well, no.
Oh, gosh. Now she's got this extra power that was never mentioned in the movie.
No, just
she's got mind speak, Bill. It's in the book.
Just the sequence with Sue is the dream. Carrie is dead.
She talks to Sue in the book.
She does. That's true.
Before she dies.
It's heavy.
But yeah, Rick, that sequence is a dream. Carrie is dead.
Okay. Is there a Carrie 2? Is there a sequel?
There's no book. There is a movie.
Okay.
Carrie 2.
But it's not
Back
Stephen King based.
Okay.
It was The Rage, Carrie 2, right? But it wasn't the sequel to this movie. It was the sequel to the made-for-TV movie, maybe?
No, the made-for-TV movie came out in 2002, and I think Carrie The Rage came out in the late 90s.
Hey, well, there went my theory.
But it's not about Carrie. It's about someone else related to her, maybe, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Terry.
It's about Terry.
Did you say Terry?
Telekinetic Terry. TT, telekinetic Terry.
Tyrannosaurus Terry.
Tyrannical Terry, the telekinetic.
The telekinetic Tyrannosaurus.
I will say, Stephen King tells a story about watching the movie, and the ending is different, so he's not sure what to expect. I mean, I'm sure he was part of the process of the movie, but he's seeing it play out for the first time. And he said that there were two bigger guys in front of him that were basically like grabbing each other and squealing like children when her arm reaches out from the grave. And that's when he knew it was going to be a really big thing.
And according to him in that story, like one of the guys was, "Oh no, I'm done."
Yeah.
That's I don't like movie theaters, but when I do go, that's what I like to hear. "Oh no, baby, we gotta go."
I'm not saying anything.
You don't have to.
You definitely don't have to.
I'm about to write a story.
Is it about werewolves?
It's called Tyrannical Terry and His Telekinetic Ways.
Please write it. I'll read every word.
Every single crayon written word.
Every last word. It's all one run-on sentence.
300 pages of no punctuation. And Terry went from being
in one period.
And Terry goes from being having telekinesis to having Tourette's to being a pterodactyl.
to being a werewolf. Turns out he was a werewolf all along. Bill.
All along. God, what a book. New York Times bestseller.
Twist. That's a twist I'm putting on it.
But it's not even in the book. It's on the back cover.
Yeah.
On the About the Author section.
We did have, let me get back to it. We did have another question, which was the way the mother was killed supposed to mirror the closet Jesus? Because I think most of us thought it was Jesus, and of course we agreed that it did.
We can call him Closet Jesus. It's cool.
Yeah,
Closet
sure.
Jesus? What's that?
Closet Jesus. Closet
When
Jesus
she was
is
praying the Sebastian statue.
in the closet.
Sebastian Bach?
Yeah, when she was praying to Sebastian Bach in the closet, that's the statue. It's not actually Jesus. It's Saint. Were you even listening before, James? It was Saint Sebastian. Oh yeah, it might have been. But yeah, that's the mother died specifically in that pose to mimic the statue. That is definitely something I read up on and can confirm. Thank you for the question.
I've got a question.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Where are these questions coming from?
Okay,
listeners.
That is a great question. I posted on the Final Girl Casey Instagram the option for, I said, we record soon. Do you have any thoughts you have or moments that you'd like us to discuss? And we got 3 questions. One of them was why she killed the teacher brutally. One of them was the closet Jesus. And they also asked, what do you think Sue thought about Tommy kissing Carrie at prom? Now, my thoughts on this was Sue was pretty bothered by some other stuff going on, and I'm not even sure she took note of it.
Oh, no. Totally doubt it, but she was watching because there was nothing else going crazy at that time. She saw it happen and she didn't like it, but it doesn't mean that she signed off on everything that happened.
I think she still had complete good intentions for Carrie and probably, didn't think a whole lot of it.
I don't know. That's a vulnerable age. Seeing the old BF putting the dorky girl in the figure 4 lip lock doesn't mean that, she's going to break up with him, but she was probably a little bothered by it. You know how you gals are.
We gals.
Y'all gals.
Aren't all the same. But
True.
She just does still have this dream about going to put flowers on Carrie's grave. So I think ultimately there still is that guilt and that she wishes things had been better for Carrie, right?
Oh, most
I think
certainly.
we can agree on that.
Most certainly.
So
I've actually got a listener review, and it is a doozy of a review. And
is this where I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread?
No, however, it is something that is right up your alley, James, and you're going to see why here in just a second. This is actually coming from my dear older sister, Chris. Okay, this is short for Christine.
I'm all ears.
Oh yeah, listen to this, James. This is wonderful. I started to watch the original with a little skepticism. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, but the books are always better than the movies to me. I wanted this one to be good because, I'll tell you in a second, the movie will reflect on me. The tone of the movie was true to the book, and the acting was okay for this kind of movie. I couldn't decide if I wanted to continue on her path of destruction or the protagonist to prevail. At this point, I'm wondering, wait a minute, what's going on in this note here? And then it said, obviously she needed to be crushed into a cube, but when I saw the twitch of the grill, you go girl, 2 thumbs up. My sister watched Christine, not Carrie, and that is what this review is for.
Christine is definitely good for a rewatch, though.
Sounds like my kind of gal.
Christine is one of my favorites. Love that film.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, but the books are always better than the movies to me. I wanted this one to be good because my name is Christine. The movie will reflect on me. Now, I don't know if I told her, hey, we're going to review the movie Christine. I don't think I would have said that because I would have been like, no, wait, your name is Christine. We're going to watch Carrie. It's still up in the air. We're still talking about that.
Bill?
That is the one with the car.
I like that one a lot better than this.
So
one.
my sister Christine watched the movie Christine because we were going to review it.
I understand.
Well, I'm not explaining it to you, James. I'm setting the table here for the listeners. I'm
glad she watched Christine and not Carrie. If she had watched Carrie, she'd been upset.
And you don't want that.
Much like I am.
So I think it's time for us to get to how we felt, and James has already started his. James, give us your thoughts and feelings.
Once again, I did not see a werewolf in this picture.
True.
So I'll give it at least 2 thumbs up.
How many thumbs do you have to give?
At least.
5.
At least 2.
Okay, so James has 5 thumbs.
I gave it 2 thumbs out of 5.
Are you looking at all these thumbs on one hand, James? Because those are fingers.
Yes.
Okay. James gives 2 fingers out of 5 up.
So basically a finger gun.
Yes, a finger
It was
gun.
mediocre at best. Stephen King said it best when he threw that book in the trash. I'm tired of this shit.
Oh my god.
Well, you know what? I'm a big fan of this movie. Sissy Spacek kills it completely, and it is one of my favorite Stephen King flicks. I won't say it is my very favorite. There are a couple more that I'm a bigger fan of, but the iconic scenes at the end make this an all-time great.
Rick, how'd you feel?
I would say after not seeing it, it's been over 10 years since I've seen it, and going back to it, definitely like an 8.7 out of 10 for sure. I really enjoyed it. So,
are you giving decimal points?
I thought we were going.
That's an 8.7 on the Richter scale.
I would say 8.5 out of 10.
All right.
Okay, so why did you take off the 0.2?
Just to please you.
Thank you, Rick.
It's your opinion, Rick. You ain't got to please nobody.
No.
Especially that bastard over there.
So Rick gave it an 8.5. James, if we multiply yours up to an out of 10, you gave it a 4. Billy, what's your rating here?
I'm going to give it an 8.3.
Okay. Hard-headed. So, I will say this is my favorite Stephen King book. This is my favorite Stephen King movie. And this is one of my all-time favorite movies as a whole. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, those are impossible standards to meet up. Like, nothing's ever going to be better than that. Nothing that we ever review on this podcast is going to be better.
Things can be as good as that.
Okay.
But it's one of my favorites. 10 out of 10.
That's quite a statement.
You know what we're waiting for, Casey. We can't wrap this thing up until you tell us what we're watching this week to review next week.
Is it the movie for next week? All right. I've thought about this.
Young Guns
Been
2.
thinking. It is not Young Guns 2. I am so sorry.
I'll make you famous.
We're going to watch You're Next. A home invasion movie from the biggest fan of home invasion you're ever going to meet.
You're Next. And you know
What's
what?
the movie?
You're Next.
That's the name of the movie?
Yes.
That is the name of the movie.
Oh, Lord.
James, all you need to know is fucking Barbara Crampton's in it, so shut your mouth.
Who?
Barbara Crampton is in this movie.
Who's Barbara Crampton?
Ooh, she's in Reanimator. Oh my, can't even talk to you now.
It's a good movie. So, it's on... Okay, so last time
The
I
Reanimator.
said that Carrie was on Hulu and Amazon Prime. It's actually on Showtime because I didn't realize that it's an add-on for Amazon Prime and Hulu. This one says it's on Hulu. Don't quote me on that. Check it out and see where you can find it, but
You're Next.
seek it out.
Starring
You're Next.
Barbara Krampus.
Casey,
works.
wrap this thing up. I'm done.
Barbara
Stick a
Krampus
fork in
as
me.
a Reanimator.
Hey, Casey, just so they know, it is on Epic's Now streaming service, Amazon Prime, Philo, and Sling TV, and YouTube TV.
When was this movie made?
2012, maybe? 11? Okay.
Tune in next week when I actually enjoy the movie we're watching.
Tune in next week to see if James watched the movie that we're watching.
I always
right.
watch the movie.
From Billy Graves, James, Rick, and Final Girl Casey, thank you so much for listening. We watched Carrie, and next week join us for Your Next. This is a Slasher Sports production.